So when asked the question, would you rather be in the woods with a man or a bear? A lot of women will answer bear, right? So now I'm a guy, right? It's apparent, I would hope. Now that I have shorter hair, hopefully it's more apparent. But I kind of don't hate the people, or I'm not really mad, okay, at the people that say they would rather be in the woods with a bear, right? And this whole thing is like there's like a whole branch of this. This isn't like an independent question, right? This stems from misandry, right? That's what it is. Okay, let's call it what it is, right? Um, and while the question necessarily doesn't imply misandry, the implication of it and a lot of the answers do. Okay, so this also came to me because of the Barbie movie, right? Because the Barbie movie is very misandrical, like patriarchal, misandrical. Um, I don't know if that's a word, but like, yeah. So first on the woman or the man or the bear. Okay, so I get it, right? Like, obviously, any logical, rational person would choose the man over the bear, right? Because logically and rationally, you're much safer with a bear statistically than with a man, right? Because I feel like in a lot of these situations, you're always giving the bear like literally the greatest possible leeway, right? It's the greatest benefit of the doubt. Like it's a bear, it's a breed of bear that doesn't attack. The bear is not hungry. It's full. It's not. It doesn't have any cubs. It has no reason to be defensive. And the man is always like some serial killer, rapist, some fucking something like that, right? And while obviously, I think 90% of people that answer the question, right, understand that obviously the man is statistically more likely to not get you killed, right? Um, it's that um, it's the question isn't about really. It's a allegory, right? Like the question isn't meant to be taken literally, right? Like if you were stranded tomorrow with a man or a bear, you would pick the man, right? And even the woman that answered the thread would, okay, unless they have some serious baggage, okay, like some serious deep rooted trauma, um, like surrounding men or something, which I also understand, right? And this also comes up today because I was talking to a coworker of mine, and she was so we were going around doing like man in the street interviews for this documentary we were working on, right? And she's a very outgoing person, right? Like tenfold more outgoing than I am, and she wouldn't approach certain guys on the street. And I was like, why wouldn't you? Like you're fine approaching like everybody else. Why not just these three guys, right? And so I had to do it for her, right? Um, so then I was like, I was confused, right? I was like, why just like, why the selective like shyness? And she was like, oh, it's like different from women, right? Like, oh, it's just like a vibes thing, and it's like a playing it safe thing, right? And I get that, right? To some extent, right? Like, I understand if you don't want to take risks, right? Like, I know it's a lot different, for a guy than it is for a girl, right? That's just the way it is, right? Um, but also like at the same time like it really reminded me of like this whole man in the wood situation. So let's talk about that, right? um, so the question really to me is just sad, right? It shows that a lot of women have some like really serious like baggage, right? Or if not that, they've gone through some like serious shit in their lives, right? Because I feel like you've got to be like you have to have been fucked up by somebody in your life to think that to over for you to rationalize picking a bear over the man, right? Um, or hypothetically rationalize. Again, I don't think any sane person, unless they were suicidal or with some serious deep rooted issues, would choose the bear, right? Or the yeah, to choose the bear, right? But it's just sad to me, right? That like so many people are so scared and they're living in like this constant state of like fright about like getting raped, or about or if like they were raped, like how like no one would care, or like the guy would be protected, right? Or like they would be victim blames, right? Stuff like that, right? Like there's this one thing where I was there's this one thing that I always associate with the situation. It's like the bear wouldn't blame me. I sent it to a friend yesterday, actually. We're gonna ignore that. I don't know what that was. Here we go. So a bear sees me as human. A bear will only attack or kill me. A bear won't bother me if I don't bother it usually. People will believe me if I get attacked by a bear. No one will ask what I was wearing or doing in the woods. No one will say that I enjoyed the bear attack. Right. So obviously we're drawing parallels to a very specific action that I think I already said, but I don't think I can say on YouTube. It rhymes with grape, right? And um, right, like obviously there are very specific parallels being drawn, right? Like and like the victim blaming is like what I was wearing or doing in the woods, or like the bear enjoyed the attack. And there's another person that was like, oh, like the bear won't be protected because he's like a CEO or will ruin his future or something like that, right? So obviously there are some problems here, right? That need to be addressed. Like no like nobody, right, woman or man or whatever, should be driven to the point where they're able to rationalize that a bear is safer than a man, right? And the fact that it is one concerning. Like how is media portraying men that like it's to the point where you would rather be with a bear, right? Because again, statistically speaking, it's not true, right? But like media distorts your opinion, right? Like statistically speaking, like black people get targeted more, like are racially profiled more often because media depicts them as more violent or more prone to crime or something like that, right? It's the same concept, right? And also if like this is like genuinely just because they've had a bad experience, right? Like the classic thing that everyone says is like, oh, whenever a woman talks about all men, she's talking about her father or her ex boyfriend, right? Which could be true, right? But the fact that this still happened to so many people and that this trauma exists is a problem, right? And like these people like probably should like get help for that, right? It's probably not healthy to live in a constant state of fear um about men, right? Because men like are make up 50% of the world, right? Or 49% probably. Is like you have like intersex like whatever, right? Like maybe 48%. Like not biological men, like uh people that identify as men, right? But like it's still a problem, right? That so many people like are living in this constant state of fear of half of people in the world, right? And like you can't help but feel bad, right? Like it's seriously like concerning stuff. And like to some extent, like I don't really want to blame women for being like irrational when like I think blaming women is part of why this problem exists in the first place, right? Like again, like a bear wouldn't blame me or question what I was wearing, right? Um, and I just think it's more sad than like it doesn't really get me mad, right? Like I'm not gonna blame somebody for having some like deep rooted trauma um about men, right? Because obviously it's something out of their control, right? Unless you're straight up just being a jackass, and it's like some straight up like misandry shit, and you want to see a fucking matriarchy, which I think is like 0.1% of women, okay? Especially people like even in like people that like would say this, right? And like I get it, right? And it's sad and it's not ideal that we live in a world where this exists, right? So my opinion on would you rather be with a man or a bear in the woods is um I empathize with anybody that would choose the bear. And yeah. Wow, okay, I'm gonna ignore that one. So yeah, okay. And also, funny enough, I asked my friend this, right? So I was like, "Yo, you're in a forest. You see something in the distance. Would you rather it be a man or a bear?" And he says, "A baddie," right? And then I was like, "Where's the problem?" And he's like, "Who's the man? A random random bear type shit. Which one are you choosing?" And he's like, "Doesn't go outside." So I'm like, "In Minecraft," and he said, "Is crazy bear because the man might have netherite, aka man might rape me." And then, but the bear should AI, right? So it's like it might not attack, right? And then I literally just said similar to this, and then we're gonna ignore that. And then I think was this the no, that was something else. And yeah. So yeah, there's that. And then on like the Barbie movie, right? Because we were talking about this on the train with my female coworkers today. And some of them didn't like the politics of the Barbie movie. They thought it was too extreme, right? Which I thought was kind of weird to hear from a woman, right? Especially in New York City. But like I kind of understand where they're coming from. Like when I first watched the Barbie movie, uh, I kind of like I don't know. It's definitely a movie made for women by women for women, right? Did I repeat myself? Maybe. Uh, it's for women, to women, by women, right? And um, and it's the whole point is that it's not made for man a dude, right? So it doesn't matter if a dude will enjoy it or not because it's not they're not the target audience. It's not made for them, right? And I get that, right? So I'm of the opinion that I didn't particularly like the Barbie movie because I felt personally attacked, right? And not personally attacked, but I felt like I was being criticized just because I was a man, right? Like that's what it was at the end of the day. Um, because I'm also not some like performative bullshit, right? Like I'm not saying that like I understand what it means to be a woman, right? And this video might come off as such, but that's not what I'm saying, right? I'm saying like there's two sides to every coin, and no one rationalizes picking a man over a bear without sorry a bear over a man without like something, right? Like humans are rational creatures, right? Fundamentally speaking, and like I thought the Barbie movie was I think it did a great job for the demographic that it was targeting, right? Like the politics was absolutely extreme, right? And like Barbie overthrows the patriarchy and makes a matriarchy, right? And and I think like the whole point of that was for it to be ironic, right? Because I'm like 90% sure the matriarchy fails too, right? So like even then, like even though like the movie does kind of like shit on you if you're a guy, right? I'm not gonna say like as it should, but like I'm saying like you fight fire with fire, right? And I think that's the point of the movie. I think like the creators felt that the patriarchy is real, and I'm sure the patriarchy is pretty bad in Hollywood. Um, and they fought fire with fire, right? And like I'm not gonna like and obviously an eye for an eye, like my friend used to say, is an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind, right? And I think like that's a reasonable assumption, right? And there's a reason why we don't go for Hammurabi's code anymore. We have like a constitution and the laws of the United States, right? Um, but like there's still like that little bit that's uh like sometimes, right, you will just have to fight fire fire, and I think that's what the Barbie movie did, right? And I think for what it was seeking out to do, it did an amazing job, right? Because I genuinely felt like again like not personally attacked, but um I feel like I don't know I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like they did a good job at appealing towards the target demographic and empowering women, right? And I think the movie was okay. I mean, I thought the politics were iffy, and I didn't really find it like all that entertaining. But again, the movie wasn't made for me, right? So like whatever, right? Like doesn't matter what I think. Um, but like I guess I shouldn't say that, right? Like obviously, like your opinion matters. And you should be able to have an opinion on something. It doesn't mean your opinion has to be heard, but you shouldn't be stopped from having an opinion on something, right? I think that goes without saying. But yeah, like I feel like I was surprised to hear that my coworkers also didn't like the politics. One of them said like, "Oh, like obviously not all men are like that." And I think everyone understands that. Like any rational person that isn't carrying like a heap of luggage that would get you turned down from Spirit Airlines, like obviously any rational person would accept that, right? Um, but I was surprised to hear it because like I felt like I don't know, like people like it's meant to appeal to them, right? So I didn't really see someone like, especially like a girl, right? Like upset about that. But yeah, I think it was interesting. I think, and like even like my 30-year-old instructor agreed with her. So I think there's that. I think even for like a lot of women, I think the politics of the movie were a bit extreme. Um, because like at the end of the day, like a lot of women do like like men, right? Like they're not homosexual, fucking heterosexual, right? Um, yeah, and the movie gives like big like I hate men vibes, which like I don't know, like um that's just what I think, right? And I haven't watched it in a few years, so I couldn't tell you otherwise, but maybe you can correct me in the comment sections, right? And one last thing with Barbie movie, like I know I know when Ben Shapiro had a whole crash out about the Barbie movie after it happened. I know a lot of people were like saying that's not the point of the movie, right? And like the politics isn't the point. The point is to empower women, and yeah, to empower women, and so you can see my reflection, by the way. Do you see that over there? Uh, so the whole point was to empower women, and it's just like a kids movie, right? It's like bright, it's colorful, and there's a lot of stuff happening, and like to some extent, I get that, right? And I understand that. But I don't know. I felt like the politics were unavoidable. Yeah, like watching it as a dude, like it's kind of hard to ignore that for the like bright, fun stuff happening, right? Um, and yeah, I think that's that. Wait, okay. By the way, the reason I keep looking at myself, I'm here, by the way, right, is because like it's weirder looking at my camera because I'm making eye contact to myself, right, which feels a lot more natural than making eye contact with a camera. Does that make sense? That's why I'm doing that. Um, but yeah. Anyways, that's that. I don't really blame you if you like subscribe to the idea that you would rather be with a bear than a man. Um, I just think I'm sorry, right? I'm sorry that you think that way, right? Yeah, that's that. So you guys can subscribe. I'll have a different thing tomorrow, hopefully, probably, and I'll see you guys tomorrow and for the next month. Bye.